on this computer, so recording, and then I'm going to go to live on Workplace by Facebook. Well, that's an interesting change. We're going to go live on Facebook. Let me get it set up to go. Okay. Live. Come on. Noonan. There we go. We're going to go onto your page, The Guy Show, and go live. I'll just give it a moment here. Nice smiles. There we go. Hey, you made it. You have it all, the life you want, except you're missing something. Welcome to The Guy Show, featuring the experts giving you the tips, tricks, and tutelage in wellness, lifestyle, and all things guy, and for the gals that love them. We are here to answer your questions on the things you want to know about. Welcome to The Guy Show. All right, have you wished you had more energy? Do you hit the wall in the afternoon and secretly hope for a little nap time? Do you struggle with weight or belly fat and yet have time constraints or joint issues that keep you from exercising the way you want to? Then you're in the right place tonight. Our guest today is going to share with you how to get more energy with less exercise by choosing the right kind of lifestyle habits to boost energy in a simple, sane, and safe way. Debra Atkinson is my guest tonight. Hey, Debra.
Hey.
She's a personal wellness coach for CEOs and business leaders, an international fitness presenter, and prior senior lecturer in kinesiology at Iowa. I almost said Ohio, but no, Iowa State University, a much better state to be from. Building on a 34-year career, she's authored 4 books, including Hot, Not Bothered, You Still Got It, Girl, the After 50 Fitness Formula for Women, and she currently hosts the Flipping 50 TV show and the Flipping 50 podcast. Hey, Debra, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Great to be here.
How was that intro for you? Good?
Man, I'm like, did you do that all in one breath? I'm so impressed.
Yeah, I have amazing lung capacity sometimes. Yeah, I can talk for a long time.
That was like a VO2 test. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a slow VO2 that just goes forever.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
So, you still got it, girl. You work primarily with women now, but, you do work with guys. So what about us guys, and how can you help a guy out?
I deal a lot with women, hormones, and that's when it comes up. But the truth is, I'm not going to go there into menopause. We don't have to call it that. I mean, there's something wrong about that whole word. But,
I call it, we call it menopause for women. I call it woman on pause for men.
Okay, great. But you do drop in testosterone,
Yes.
And here's the truth, where it all comes around, we start talking about it because sex hormones get our attention. But the truth is, cortisol is the one it comes back to every time.
Yeah.
And who doesn't have stress? So really, that's the one that causes all the trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those others are knocking on the door, they get our attention. So cortisol for guys, testosterone, and that's a factor for females too. But here's the deal. Mm-hmm. You guys, we are jealous over here because you can fix your problem just a little bit easier than we can fix ours. I mean, you go into the weight room and do the right thing, and you can help yourself quite a bit. And that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it's so true. It's easier for guys because of our larger amount of testosterone in our system there, in the production there. We have that easier time of gaining lean mass, so to say, compared to women. So when we do that, we have that slightly easier, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily way easier process of losing body fat at that same time there. So what are the biggest mistakes men make in the gym that result in anything on the continuum from injury to lack of results?
Well, probably some of the biggest things, and yeah, we can probably go back and forth and laugh about this for a little tonight, but repeating the workout when they go back into the gym after a long sabbatical, shall we say, and they're repeating what they once learned. it's funny, I just had this conversation today about how it is going back home to a small town. You know, when you left, you were 18, right? And so, but you go back and you kind of expect those same kind of relationships to be in place, because that's where you left. You know, it's like picking up a book. And you know, for guys, when they come back in the gym, that's where they were familiar with things. So it's natural to make that mistake, but that's a big one. You know, you don't have the same shoulders, you don't have the same knees, and they don't have the same resiliency that they did when you were in high school or college football.
Yeah. We were a triangle before, this way, like a funnel. Now we're more of a pyramid now, you know. So that shifting, like you said.
It's just, you know, kind of geography, right?
Yeah.
So true. So it's that, and then it's, you know, this is a gender thing, really. So go in, and still today in 2018, we still see women are predominantly in that cardio room and men predominantly in the weight room. And, you know, I got to give a lot of women a pat on the back. That's not true for everybody. And, you know, guys are making a little inroad into cardio, but I would say it still is going to be strength is where we find them most often. Now, if you're midlife, you're getting there, that's not such a bad thing anymore. So weight training is going to be your best friend forever as you age. Far more important than cardio. And it's going to be, if you've got to come down to, I have time for this or that, but not both today, go to the weights every time, because that's going to be your long time winner. So, you know, you're doing the right thing there. I think still a little bit of balance is probably in order for most of us. Yeah.
Can I just throw weight around all the time? It's just so much easier.
I know, right? And you know what we call that, the curls for the girls, the mirror muscles.
There you go. I like that, curl. Hashtag, there's the hashtag, first hashtag for thing, curls for the girls.
There you go. Yeah.
Got to build the pipes up, you know, so our arms are bigger than our legs, which that's another thing too. Guys do that all the time. You know, I call them the bench kings in the gym. They just do upper body, and then, you know, they have sweatpants on. Then you see them in the locker room afterwards. You're like, you've got toothpicks. Like, guys, build some legs up there.
Yeah, right. A little body balance would be good too, right? Yep.
Exactly. So in midlife, women's hormones levels drop in many different ways, and then they seek out your help in there, and then you help them around. Now, we talked a little bit ago about that, but like, what about men? Like, what have you seen with your clients that's a huge thing occurring in that 40s to 50s bracket, and then that 50s on up?
Yeah, testosterone levels dropping in part because of not being in the weight room. So, you know, a lot of times they'll show up on my doorstep knowing I need a routine, you know, I need to get in there, and maybe knowing enough to not go in there and do what they used to do. So getting in the weight room at all is going to help. But, you know, I'll tell you what, in whether this is from 9/11 or post it, but we've seen a lot of people enjoying their wine, enjoying their social hour. And alcohol can kill testosterone, you know, so the very thing that you're wanting, you know, one of the ways that you socialize or quote unquote relax can be hurting that a little bit if you're doing it a little too often. So you've got to take a good look at sugar and alcohol specifically. So those two things can counter it. And then, you know, for guys, it's not as much hormones waking them up. You know, it may be a little bit of stress. For women, that's what they're dealing with. Their hormones are suddenly like, you know, I can't go to sleep, I can't stay asleep, and then I'm wondering, is it too early to get up yet? You know,
it's 2:30 in the morning. Can I get up?
I don't see that as much in the men that I work with, but I do see a little bit more sleep apnea happening, because they're carrying a little bit more weight, and that's waking them up even though they don't realize it. You know, it's their wives that are suffering and letting me know that's what's going on over here. Yeah. But there's that, and then there's we're cutting corners. You know, we kind of short sheet ourselves literally. You know, we stay up a little bit too late. We need to unwind, you know, is the excuse I get a lot of times. I just don't want to go to bed when the rest of my family's up, or when my teenagers are up, because I know that time is short, right? So, and I totally get that. But then we're getting up too early in the morning, and there's not a chance for a good night's sleep. So what does that do? Cuts off growth hormone, and we need that to maintain that lean muscle mass and or to build it, right?
Yeah, so true there. We see that with testing we're doing with clients and things too, is the effects of the stress on the system for guys, changing cortisol levels, changing testosterone levels. And what we're seeing consistently a lot of time in a majority of patients, at least 90% of the men we're testing, is huge amount of estrogen dominance. A lot of estrogen in the systems there that we're seeing in guys. That was myself included. Even with all the work I do with training and everything else, is I was actually producing, or had from the environment itself, too much estrogen in my body.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an eye-opener, right? For a lot of guys. It's like, what?
Yeah. It's like, we have estrogen, but we shouldn't have that much. And I'm seeing that with a lot of my clients too, is from the health perspective, that estrogen dominance and that massive amount of estrogens we're catching is, we're not able to lose weight no matter what we're doing. We're feeling bloated. We see the fluid, the sleep apnea occurring within there. We're drowning in our own fluid, so to say, at that point, that shortness of breath that comes from there. But it's such a huge thing, like you were noting there, that apnea occurs from inflammation, lack of sleep, from alcohol ingestion, so be smart, guys.
Yeah. And I think that all comes back to men, women, and both. We probably need to support each other. But, the bottom line on estrogen dominance is stress, right? So what are we doing about that intangible thing? We love to reach for the tangible. So how can I control my diet? How can I control my exercise? But we've got to be careful with both of those things, because our tendencies, sometimes the way we go about approaching nutrition is a diet, which is stress. I mean, your body gets stressed when you don't give it what it wants, right? And it gets stressed when we exercise. Even if it's the right amount of exercise, your body does like the couch, right?
Yes.
So it's all stress, and we've got to deal with it. And if you're dealing with emotional, financial, relationship stress otherwise in your life, it's like it's all in the same backpack. You're carrying all of that. You don't get to separate it and say, well, I'm okay with that. I just got to deal with this. It's all there. So, we really need to pay attention to how are we dealing with our stress. I don't know about you, Jerry, but I'm like, it's not going to go away.
Right.
That recommendation, unfortunately, when people get told, reduce your stress, that's ridiculous, right?
Yeah. How am I going to do that?
The best way, while you still have a heart rate, is, to eliminate everything you love and everybody you love. That's it. Right. It's not a possibility. If you're going to have a meaningful life, you're going to have stress. It's just part of the bonus that you got and didn't know you signed up for. But
exactly.
So it's more about joy, right? It's the joy factor. Where are you putting joy in that lets you cope with that stuff and say, okay, it's going to come. I'm going to have some stress. At some point, we know it's coming, but I can handle it. I've got that little buffer and I'm good. So whether you're laughing every day, maybe you do negate some of your stress with exercise. What do you do, Jerry, for stress?
I laugh. I laugh a lot. I do exercise regularly, 3 to 5 times a week, with currently doing CrossFit, and then also aerobic training too, cycling and running. But I do try to laugh a lot, because it is, if we that laughing releases that oxytocin itself. For some people, as I'm sure you'll agree, exercise can cause another additional stressor to their system that they're not prepared for. But that laughter, that joy, like you were saying, that joy factor there that releases the joy, releasing the oxytocin in the system, so we have that counterbalance to that stress response. Because truthfully, our body knows how to deal with any stressor to its system, any perturbance, is through the stress response. It's really crappy way that it does it. It's like no matter what perturbance happens, it's the stress response that occurs. That epinephrine, norepinephrine, then cortisol that follows that. And so it's like it's a poor design. And so as today's society, we have so many different stressors occurring in the system that it only knows how to do one thing to deal with it.
Yeah, right. So it's a one trick pony. That's it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You would think there'd be better ways for it to adapt.
And yet, I mean, how clean and how simple is that?
Yep.
So, if you can, take the steps and adapt, and it's sometimes it's as simple as, if you had an hour to yourself, or if you had a day to yourself, or a weekend, what would you do with that? For a lot of people, that question is a wake up call because it's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know what I used to do when I enjoyed myself and got to choose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a good way, Allison just pointed a good thing out here, question. She's like, laughter is the best. And she says, charades always make us laugh.
Yes, always, don't they? Yeah.
They do. You and I were just gone this past weekend for a mastermind group that we are part of, and we had a great game of charades this weekend.
Yes, we did. Yes.
If you have, what if you have one chance to make exercise recommendations to guys? What is that one thing you tell them to do?
Ironically, we were just beating them up a little bit about being in the weight room too much, but I would say, priority is probably strength training. Mm-hmm. Get in there, lift heavy or as heavy as you safely can today, mm-hmm. And progress so you're able to do what is heavy on a joint by joint basis. Mm-hmm. If you have 40-year-old, 50-year-old shoulders and you've lived a good life, they probably don't quite function like they did when they were 20, and that's okay. Yeah. As long as you treat them that way, yep. Right? Likewise, joint by joint with your knees, with your hips. Major muscle group exercises mm-hmm. are your best friend. So it's funny, we were just talking about, bicep curls for the girls. It's funny that people will go to those first. Do you notice that? Mm-hmm. Because it's one of the least intimidating things. It's like, okay, I can look around a little bit and assess the situation, and I feel good. I know what I'm doing when I'm doing these things, and we're on to you. We know what you're doing. Okay, so I would suggest ask for help. I think that one of the beautiful things about getting to 40 or 50 is it's like, I don't have to have all the answers anymore. Mm-hmm. And it is okay to ask questions about, what should I be doing? What would be the best 5 things that I do when I come in here on a regular basis that mm-hmm. are going to help me the most, the biggest needle movers? What are those? And exactly. Have somebody look at your body. Mm-hmm. Right? Because we could go, okay, well, there's squats, there's lunges, there's chest press, there's rows. Those are major muscle groups. But then you might need somebody to look at, all right, what's going on with you? Mm-hmm. Because who among us is perfect out there? All right. So I know some of you are. Right. Just a little insight. We're not all symmetrical. Right. And, the body figures out a way. So mm-hmm. you don't realize it. And you may, in fact, a lot of injuries happen. We blame exercise, and it's not that. Mm-hmm. It's that little compensation was there, and then we start to ask the body to do more. Mm-hmm. And if we ask it to do more in a balanced way, we cause greater compensation, right? Yeah. So we've got this asymmetry we make worse, and you just want to be careful of that. So if you know from the get-go what's going on, let's compare your right leg to your left leg, your right arm to your left arm, and look at your flexion, your extension, and see what's going on. We know better what you should be doing to balance that body. Yeah. Very key to make sure we're balanced, particularly as guys as we age. And testosterone makes us very sinewy, very tight. So that stretching aspect that may not occur because we're lifting heavy weights and we don't stretch can be detrimental there. So not only building that strength, like you're saying, but that symmetry aspect of making sure we have the flexibility there also. Right. Mobility is key. And I think, For guys, that's
Mhm.
probably even more important than it is for women. Women tend to have it a little bit more naturally. Part of that from socialization from when they were younger. They
Mhm.
tended to do gymnastics and dance, and guys didn't do that. So,
Mhm.
we have a little bit more history of more mobility
Mhm.
than probably stability and strength, whereas you've got the opposite. We both kind of meet in the middle. We'd be so much better off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's, the flexibility of, okay, touch your toes. I said, yeah, when I bring my foot up to put my sock on, that's when I
Yeah,
touch
right.
my toes at that point for that flexibility there. You're an expert in aging and avoiding muscle loss, also known as sarcopenia. What's that importance of protein for results?
It's huge. Yeah, really, really great. And as you were talking about charades outside of charades and the fun we had,
Yeah.
talking with a few key experts. So Dr. Gabrielle Lyons, I had a
Yeah.
great conversation with her. And, the key is this. I mean, we've got three things that determine how fast are we going to age, right? So aging, changing birth dates, that's a given, but feeling old is not so much a given.
Mm-hmm.
So your age, we definitely are going to lose muscle mass easier than we keep it, and definitely than we gain it if we're
Mm-hmm.
not paying attention. But we know we can change that one now so much better than we used to
Mm-hmm.
through exercise, the right kind of exercise and the right frequency. So we're not breaking down the muscle more than we build it up, but then it takes those adequate calories and the adequate protein to rebuild it. So a couple things happen as we age.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say age, it's after 40, you're probably still okay. But at some point between 40 and 50, most of us stop processing or synthesizing our protein as well as we did younger,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't necessarily say, okay, me to you, but I can say me at 53 to me at 43 and 33. I'm not doing as well as I was then, no matter what's true of my fitness level now.
Mm-hmm.
So as I look out at 63, 73, and what's going to happen, we need actually more protein and to be more careful that we're getting it at the right time and in the right quota.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those are important. It's not an end of the day total, but so that we're getting it and being able to put it to the use of the muscle. So just to make everybody clear,
Yeah.
if you want to build lean muscle, it takes the building blocks of getting adequate protein to
Mm-hmm.
do that, right? So you can't have one without the other.
Right. Right. Is there, we hear so much like time to implement protein, when to get protein into the diet.
Yeah.
Do we do it before workouts, after workouts? Within 30 minutes, we want to do this amount. Is there really a best time to, before workout or after workout, to really make sure we're getting protein in, and how much per se, maybe per kilogram of body weight, to stimulate as much lean mass as possible and prevent muscle wasting?
Yes, and yes. Do you want to move on, or do you want me to? I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I don't.
Yeah, sounds good. Great.
So let me back up one by one.
Yeah.
So timing, and some of this depends on, are we talking about, if we're talking about a frail 70-year-old. So for some of this is looking at what are our parents doing, and
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing them start to fail a little bit, be a little weaker, have less endurance, and so we're concerned about that. But that's also kind of looking down at, oh yeah, that's my future down there. I got to be thinking about it. So it's a good wake-up call. But a 70-year-old who's lifting weights, I'll get to that in a minute,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a little proof that they will do better kind of doing some pre-workout protein. And we're talking specifically if they're doing heavy, moderate to heavy intensity.
Mm-hmm.
That could be strength training. It could be cardio if it was longer duration or high intensity.
Mm-hmm.
So pre and post for them could be really important, because they're losing it a lot faster than somebody who's 50 even might be. But whether you do it before or you do it after, either can be just as beneficial. According to the research, for women, who are working out moderately to heavily or intensely 2 to 3 times a week. All right. So the timing though, so I want to catch this and let you know. So the old thinking used to be within 30 minutes, you got a window of opportunity and you're wide open and you're ripe and use that. What we know now for adults as we age, there's a blunting effect on our ability to synthesize that protein. So actually waiting about 60 minutes after a tough workout is better.
Oh.
And so the sweet spot, about 60 minutes to 2 hours after a workout, best time to have about 20 to 30 grams of protein. And that's the sweet spot. So I know you said the other one was kilograms of protein, or grams of protein to kilograms of weight.
Yeah, the American way, kilograms of protein per gram of body weight. Yes.
I'm a morning person, Jerry. Okay. So that's not really user friendly, right? So unless we're going to get our calculators out, I mean, that's a little bit more user friendly to sit down. I could calculate that. But the other way we're so used to seeing is the percent of protein, right? Not, again, user friendly at the end of the day. And the truth is, it matters that we split it up evenly and we get so much at breakfast, so much at dinner or lunch and dinner, depending on how you call dinner, supper.
Yeah.
But 3 times a day, as opposed to just looking at, all right, what's my quota? Did I get my total at the end of the day? And the American way has way too often been really light on breakfast, maybe a little bit more random at lunch, and then a huge amount of protein at dinner. And our bodies don't work that way. So we synthesize kind of a sweet spot of protein, somewhere between 20 and 30 grams of protein per meal for most people. And as we age, that number might go up a bit because, as I mentioned, we don't synthesize that protein as well as we did when we were younger. So more may be better, especially if you are frail. You're having a hard time as you're lifting, getting that lean muscle put back on or gaining it at all. So you want to look at that. So let's talk. What does 20 to 30 grams look like? Just for some of you who are wondering, okay, help me out here. Yeah. So that's you take the palm of your hand, depending on the size of your hand, right? And cut your knuckles off. That's about 4 to 6 ounces. Yeah, perfect. And that's a chicken breast, that's a piece of salmon, that's, your preference. But most animal meat, servings are going to fit that. You're going to be within that range. And here's the interesting thing. The less active you are, the higher in that range you need to be.
Interesting.
Athletes train their bodies in a way that they synthesize protein better. They can get by with a little bit on the lower end of that range. That's non-intuitive. So, I look at it for my mom who's 91, and not real active unless you count bridge, right?
Yeah.
And big, and and that's about what we count. But she needs her protein more than I do. And many of you are out there listening, maybe watching and thinking, boy, that would be hard to get my parent to sit down and eat that much because they get full, right? They can't handle that. But, that's when sometimes, I've got her, walking the Flippin' 50 brand talk, and she's a smoothie girl. So, having a little liquid protein sometimes can help bump up that protein and help them get it in. So timing type-wise, go. Yeah.
You're an Ironman triathlete. You just did Cozumel the end of last year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just a little bit of work goes into that.
Just a little, and a lot of sleep. Yeah,
a little bit of work, a lot of sleep, a little bit of time there. But time is really one of our biggest obstacles we have in today's society. You have some really good, simple tips for making the most with the least amount of time that we have each day.
I absolutely do. So, and I live this, Jerry. So, you may know this story. I just came back to Ironman. So, I've been kind of flipped my life upside down at 49. and started over, started building a business from scratch. And I called my boss was a bitch. She wouldn't let me away from the computer, and and so I suddenly had been used to hours, of training and loved it, but I just didn't have that luxury anymore. I suddenly panicked and said, what did I just do? I've got college tuition to pay. I got things to do.
Yeah.
So I found myself exercising, 20 minutes a day, to get it in, to feel good, to be healthy and stay there. And after about 14 months of that and a whole lot of major life stressors I hadn't planned on, I was probably same weight, same body composition, actually felt better than when I had been spending hours exercising.
Yeah.
I realized, it was congruent with the research I was doing, that, in terms of hormone balance, there's a lot to be said for making the most of your time. And anybody watching who's gone to the gym, let's say, and you've got an hour, when you really think about, all of that hour, how productive was it? How much of this was there, or getting the right song on the iPod.
Doing selfies.
Right. Yeah.
Working out here.
I get that, right?
Yeah.
Totally. So, when you have a little bit of time, you tend to make it more purposeful. And that's the whole idea. It's less exercise with more purpose. There's an end to that sentence, and just like more of the right food, right? So here's a couple of keys. You can do it in 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And really that's the whole point, is you decide what's the time frame that's realistic. What are you willing to do? What do you have? And a lot of the women I start working with think they don't have time, but I ask them if they'll do 10 minutes twice a week and start weight training and doing that. And it's enough to start making you feel good. And if you do that first thing in the morning, you're going to make better decisions all day long.
Yeah.
Here's the secret. It's those major muscle group exercises. You choose a squat, or you choose a lunge, and then you choose a push and a pull exercise. So for those not familiar with the language, it's a chest press and a row, a bent over row. You do the push, the pull, and the leg, same exercise 3 times, and you're done in about 10 minutes. But let's say that 3 exercises, that's more than 3 muscle groups. That's really those muscles, secondary muscles. So you've worked 8 to 10 muscles, stimulating them enough that if you reach fatigue, you've done yourself a great service, right? By boosting your metabolism for the rest of the day, changing your posture, boosting your strength, and most importantly, you just messaged yourself, I'm somebody who does this regularly.
Yeah.
It's a part of my habit. So, and what I like to do is look at, you've got a bullseye. You got 10 minutes, that's what you do. You have 20 minutes, okay, we can do a few more extracurricular activities, right? We can do a little bit of the bicep and the tricep and the hamstring curls. You got more, you can expand that much more, but it's like an accordion then. It shrinks and expands to the time that you've got available. And you're always consistent. So of all the things, consistency is your best friend.
So definitely, like you're saying there, that for that time thing, the full body work and those movements is definitely better than trying to do split routines or doing single body part or doing those things for those shorter time periods. But if you have that additional time, then you can get more of the curls for the girls.
Exactly right. I'm so glad you brought that up. And, it really depends if you're looking to lose a little weight. So you're looking to, I need to bump up the lean tissue. I need to reduce a little bit of body fat to really stimulate major muscles. It's actually better to do a full body routine than it is to do a split routine. And for those guys who are short on time, gals too, you get caught if you're doing a split routine. You've got to be a slave to it, because if you get behind, you miss a day, it throws the whole schedule off. Where if you're doing a full body routine twice a week, twice is really where you get 75 to 80% of the results.
Nice.
You know, the rest is icing on the cake, but it's not enough to feel guilty about, right? So you have wiggle room if you're doing twice a week. You can go Monday and Thursday, but if you miss Thursday, you can go Friday. You're still covered. You're good, right?
Yeah. You're getting some work in there to make sure you're not being so sedentary, like you said, and you're actually getting the work done in an efficient time to hit those things to prevent the sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass occurring, and keeping strong and stable. That's one of the things as we get older, our recovery time, as we kind of circle back a little bit to earlier, compared to like the young bucks in the gym that can hit every single day. I'd notice in my 40s here, my mid 40s now, that my recovery time sadly takes a little bit longer, as I can do the heavy lifting and throw the weights around just as well as they can, but it's going to take me an extra day to recover there.
So true. And, you know, that was a great segue, because I think talking about that, you know, Monday, Thursday schedule, you know, how many of us used to be on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you know, or Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and that was it. And, you know, we really need to take a little time and listen. You know, I mean, signs you're not quite recovered, and really you're not going to benefit from doing that workout just because it's today, right? I mean, if you can move it to tomorrow, do that. If you're still a little sore, right? And or you've got some residual fatigue, you know, that you can't really account for. Something else is causing it. It's not just the, you know, I'm kind of in a fog and I need to start and I'll feel better when I start. You might, but that 10-minute rule I think is always a good idea. You know, start your warm up. If after 10 minutes you do feel better, okay, maybe you did just need to move. But if you're not feeling it, don't push it, because that could just be more muscle breakdown happening instead of build up. And you're well aware of catabolism, right? So if you do workouts, more work, thinking more must be better, I'm going to get in shape faster, we break down so much faster. And as we age, that happens even more. So more recovery may be a better answer to better fitness. It's not going to slow you down. And I think it's important to say this, that, you know, 20-something, 30-something Olympic athletes, you know, across the board on a team, none of them recover at exactly the same speed. It's why their coaches work with them and say, you know, I'm going to have you do a lighter workout today. I'm going to have you take another day off, you know, and that happens all the time. It's not a weakness, and it's not always a sign of age. It's just unique to you.
As we, you know, as you say, like, I'm sure you know this phrase too, in the triathlon community and the endurance community, active recovery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Talking about that, you know, just to make sure everybody's well aware what that is. You know, I mean, I love a passive recovery massage as well as the next girl does, but, you know, moving lactate out, getting you moving if you're a little bit sore, just doing a softer form of workout. So saying I like to use is, you know, some workouts are recovery and some workouts require recovery.
No, very good.
You can ride a bike, you know, and spin, low impact, go a little lighter. You're not pushing heavy high gears. That's an easy recovery workout. You can get in the pool. Water exercise is great for, you know, kind of pulling toxins out of you, moving fluidly, no impact. And that's true for any of you who swim or not. You can get in and water walk. You can keep your hair dry, guys. So you can, I know, right? I'm always thinking about you, Jerry.
Yeah, so good. Debra, I mean, it's been amazing having you on here. You're a wealth of knowledge with only a few years experience, because you're so young, and how you do things. You know, you have a great offer that you're willing to give to the Facebook Live listeners here, a free consult for them or their spouses, significant others there if you want to. We'll get that link posted underneath here when we're done. But that's such a generous offer for you. Not together?
No.
One or the other, you don't get two.
Not couples therapy, right?
Right. Oh, don't even go there. That's in a few weeks on coming up. We're going to have a couples therapy meeting here on Facebook Live with the Guy Show to help guys out there. But again, Debra, thank you for being on the show. It's been an amazing pleasure. You're amazing. I love you. You know, any last little tidbit or anything you want to throw out there to the guys here?
You know, I think if you want to, we didn't even talk about this, Jerry, but you know, keeping the libido alive works both ways. Yep. So if you want to feel better everywhere, bedroom included, you know, a little weight work goes a long ways.
Stronger muscle.
Oh, God. That was no charade, right?
That was no charade. That was perfect. You threw that pitch across the plate. I had to swing for it.
Yes, you did. Knocked it out of the park, brother.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for being on tonight. We will see you all next week. Check Debra out at Flippin' 50, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're off the stream. Good job.
Nice. Way to close. Hi.
Hi.
Your shirt's green. You see through on the screen.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I have a green shirt on. My mom's trying to ask you a question, but she was logged in under Jerry's account.
Oh,
so,
is that what that was?
yeah, she was, because she couldn't get it on her phone, so she's at home with it. She's visiting in town, and she's with the kids at home. She's like, I'm trying to ask her a question, but he keeps logging in as Jerry. I'm like, go back when he's done. Put the question in there. So if you see that, my mom will be back asking you a question.
Okay.
You got to bend down a little bit and get the mustache on your face there for that.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, go that. Oh, it won't do it. Never mind.
Oh, well, now I have a floating head.
Oh, I got this giant head behind me.
Yeah.
You look great. Your photos, I can't remember when you posted them, but they are beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have to get the rest of them on there too, but I had someone do a photo shoot for me this spring, and so they got a lot of nice shots out there. So
they were so good. Yes.
Thank you.
Love them.
Good.
Nice to see you.
You too.
All right, we're good. I'll get this. It's live, so I'll get it done. I'll get it transcribed and get you everything and some hashtags. So you'll have that. You should get an email either later tomorrow or Friday with the follow-up and everything for the show and stuff for your own thing if you want to use for marketing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're awesome.
That was a blast.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.